Why is scrolling not ready for check-in? What? Right, cool. All right. So, what do you want me to do? Slide it over here? Okay. All right, should we wait? Let's see what you got. How many? Oh.
I know my IT, but Julie was.
Oh, okay. It's in my pocket. I have to move around. Make sure they can hear us online, okay? I checked in on time and I got B36. Killing me. I paid the extra $40 to upgrade the. So maybe I'll do that real quick.
Yeah, all right.
Perfect.
You're actually waiting for you.
Oh.
Okay.
No pressure. Upgrade. Hold on. It's $40. Whatever. You know. All right, hold on. Please enter. Should we wait a couple more minutes, or what do you guys want me to do? I do too. All right, hold on. Let me just put the security code in, and we'll get started. All right. Purchase. Put a lot into this, so okay, there we go. A5. Okay. Turn off my ringer. So welcome to the 5 of you that are here. See if anybody else comes in. So first off, I just wanted to kick off with this first slide since we're on the topic of AI. This is me, right? I drink the Salesforce Kool-Aid and have since we started this process in 20. Hey, there's a big group in here. So I said, good luck trying to find a seat. No, just kidding. So I went on ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT to make me an image about drinking the Salesforce Kool-Aid. And this is the image that I came up with. I've shared this with all my Salesforce fanatical friends. And so then I put some facts in about me on the left side and how I drink Salesforce Kool-Aid and how I'm pretty enriched in the community and the culture from that. So I just kind of wanted to kick off with that little piece. So as far as myself, my name is Edward Garcia. So I'm the Senior Director of IT for the law school at Arizona State University. I've been there for nearly two decades. It'll be 20 years in August. Couple fun facts about me. Early May, I did 114-hour water, black coffee, black iced tea fast. So I ate Sunday, 5:45, I think I'd finish, and then I ate at noon on Friday. So no food, nothing. Pretty crazy. So later in May, I was actually featured on the Salesforce website with myself and a few other colleagues from ASU, and I heard from several people online. It was kind of an exciting time for me personally. Kind of a big deal, Salesforce. So, all right, so I want to talk about our journey of Salesforce. We started this journey in 2018, so I'm going to talk about some of these things that you see here, whether it's our transition to Salesforce, empowering the admissions and marketing team with effective marketing strategy, the impact on where we are today, some of the customizations that we've done, the evolution of the things that we've added as far as customizations, and then kind of what's next with the continuous innovation and the evolution of Salesforce. Might not be in this particular order, but these are just some of the things that I want to talk about. All right, so how many of you are currently using Salesforce? None. Okay. So this question doesn't apply to any of you. So I can't even answer this question either. So most law schools are not using Salesforce. Most people are working out of an enterprise instance of Salesforce, but if we have more people in here, I'd be curious to know the answers to this because I don't think there might be a handful of law schools, if that use Salesforce. So Salesforce is basically a CRM. It's a relationship management and allows you to oversee the life cycle, enhance interactions, work with current constituents, prospective constituents. I kind of geared this definition towards higher ed, not so much from a traditional sales perspective. It simplifies engaging and managing our constituents, which in our case is the students. So when we rolled out Salesforce in 2018, we had to use Sales Cloud with a package called HIDA, which was basically a managed package that you got from the App Exchange, and you had to install on the traditional Sales Cloud to give you some basic education type objects and fields, right? So that is kind of going away. And now education is going towards Education Cloud, which was just launched in 2023. So this is kind of a big deal because it's getting Education Cloud as its own vertical, its own core platform. And when I say that, it's like some of these platforms, they're dedicated clouds. They're not just using Sales Cloud, they're actually their own core platform. So some of them like Health Cloud, I got Health Cloud in there twice. Financial Services Cloud, Experience Cloud, Government Cloud, Data Cloud, these are all core platforms. And so now Education Cloud is one of these. So Salesforce is making a big commitment in the education arena to offer a better platform for those interested in adopting Salesforce. So if you're net new to Salesforce, probably going to Education Cloud is a good way to go. So when we did it, we started this process in fall of 2018. And Salesforce is we had zero experience. So we had to bring in consultants. I'm sure we're all familiar with consultants to start this process. And so we did it in a phased approach. So it was two phases. The first one was recruiting and admissions and strategic email marketing and engagement. And so when I say strategic email marketing and engagement, we didn't really have a good process to reach out to constituents that were prospective students or applicants and to contact them in a dynamic manner based off of that application status, stage, process, whatever it may be. So that was the first one. So we have Salesforce, and we created a recruiting user app with the help of a consultant, and then we linked our Salesforce environment to Pardot. So it's now called Account Engagement. It was formerly Pardot. So Salesforce has two email marketing platforms. It has Marketing Cloud, and it has Pardot, which is now called Marketing Cloud Account Engagement, which is kind of funny. So if you're a small unit, like a law school, a business school, a science school, in my opinion, I think using Pardot Account Engagement is the best way to go. If you're a big enterprise customer, and you're going out of the enterprise instance, Marketing Cloud is the way to go. You have millions of contacts, you're serving up millions of constituents, that's the way to go. But if you're looking for a more easier, intuitive, more targeted, dynamic and email marketing system that's connected to your environment, in my opinion, Account Engagement is the way to go. So the second phase happened in 2022. So not only did we go from recruiting and admissions and email marketing, we took an outdated, homegrown, custom .NET web-based student management system and rolled our student management system into Salesforce, right? All custom built. Again, we had to work with a consulting firm because we're all me and my developer, I'll get into this more later. We knew very little about this stuff, right? So we're kind of learning on the job, and so we were able to bring in all of our enrolled students and allow our services teams to manage them, right? Our JD student services team, our master services team, our career services team. They can go in, they can log in, they can see all the information, they can see the classes, they can see the grades, they can see everything. And then now recently, usually when it comes to fundraising and EDU, it's handled by the foundation, which is the fundraising arm of any university. But for us, our dean wanted to have like an alumni section just to build the relationship, right? Where's this person working now? What's their most recent address? What's their phone number? How can we reach them? What area of law are they practicing? We're not trying to get money from them. We're about building a relationship with them. And then the foundation can ask them for money. So these are the two phases that we went through. So I kind of got ahead of myself, but when we went through this phase one, and we wanted to do improve in recruiting and admissions, these are the things that we wanted to achieve, right? And these are the things that we did achieve and are achieving and are exceeding that. So being able to tailor emails and content, whether it's dynamic content based off of degree program, whether it's dynamic content based off of their name, preferred name, whether it's showing, just giving them relevant data that's specific to the program that they're interested in, we're able to do all of this. And even when they apply, we're able to say, okay, they're an active admit. We're going to build a dynamic list. We can send them down this journey based off of their current status. They fall out of that journey, say maybe they're denied now. So they automatically fall off this other list based off of them falling off the stage. So once you build these dynamic lists, they're accurate, they'll fall off automatically. You're not having to manually manage these lists. So which is awesome. And then during that recruiting and admissions process, the JD admissions team, they can work with those constituents. They can text them, they can track their activity, they can manage those relationships, they can answer questions, they can log that activity. So that's the stuff that we're doing now, which is great. And the other thing we wanted to solve was the fragmented data, right? So we have all sorts of users that have data. This user is downloading stuff from PeopleSoft from the main campus. This person's downloading data from ASU Analytics. This person's downloading data from a different place. And now this data is all fragmented, right? So we wanted to find a solution to bring everything under one umbrella, right? So just want to unify the data under one single platform, right? So to me, it's our system of engagement. It's a destination system. We're pulling in data from multiple sources, whether it be coming from ODS, which is the data warehouse, whether it's coming from people filling out the RFI, that flowing into account engagement and flowing into Salesforce, whether it's LSAC, somebody applying, pulling that data in with the API. So we have 4 or 5 different source systems that are pulling data into this one system. So as I mentioned, phase one was the recruitment user app. So I'm kind of not show that one. I'm just going to show the student management app. And this is the one that our student services teams would use, right? And you can see all of the custom objects on this top ribbon of different things that we have inside this environment. So we have their degree. We have their academic status. Are they enrolled? Are they on probation? Do they graduate? We have all that information under the student degree. We have their student GPA. We have their cumulative GPA. We have all their classes, their academic requirements. So did they win an award? Did they pass the bar? What were their anonymous exam numbers? So you remember, faculty don't see this. It'd be the registrar's office. It'd be the student services teams. They would see this. Did they get scholarship money? You know, we have that broken down by distribution. We have their opportunity. Their opportunity is when they apply, that's an opportunity. It's the program and their term. So yes, Eddie Garcia applied. He wants to apply for JD fall of 2025. That's his opportunity. We have their addresses. We even track their pro bono activity. So if they submit it on with our custom online form, we'll track the hours. I'll show you this. I'm going to log in and show you guys some stuff. So we have all these different things. We have notes, SMS notes, which we call which stands for student management notes. We also have all of this stuff down here: LSAC number, high LSAT score, cumulative GPA, and then you can see we just recently added these tags. So we can create all these custom tags based off of, did they receive a certain, were they a certain scholar? Are they a JD alum? Do they have a LinkedIn profile? Because I have that on here too. Did they, were they part of the law journal, the geometrics journal? So now I can take all of these tags, and those teams, any team, they can see these tags and see where these people are engaged and what they were part of when they were enrolled in law school. The other best part is I can take those tags and I can set up email journeys or emails to go out and build dynamic lists based off of a specific tag. So they, like recently when Justice O'Connor passed away, right? They wanted to know, they wanted to send an email to all the people that were O'Connor scholars. So I had to build a dynamic email list for all those people that were O'Connor honor scholars. So now we have all those people. And then I broke it down as is graduated, is enrolled, but not withdrawn. You know what I mean? So we were able to get very accurate with those things. And then is anybody familiar with 1220 Atlas, the job we use it for jobs? We pull data in from Atlas as well, whether it's their learning experiences, right? If they go do an externship at a firm, We pull in there when they're graduating, pull in their job information. So we pull that information in here too. So we have that initial information as far as their externships go and when they leave with the job. The other thing is on this, if you look on the right side where it says student program, GPA, and pro bono, this is all custom. It's a custom Lightning Web component. And so I'll show you guys. It's has a lot of information that's condensed in a real easy, accessible window. So people don't have to dive into all these objects to try to find specific information that they're looking for, whether it's academic status, whether it's, I'll show you that. It's pretty cool stuff. So this is just more of the bottom of the contact record. You can see birthday, you can see, tribe, you can see all this other helpful information. And you can see over here, you see these green buttons on the right. So we use Mowgli for texting and we have Pardot for email. If somebody opts out of the email, it'll automatically opt them out here. This button will turn red. Do not email, the box is checked. They can't even email, they get opted out in Pardot. You can send them an email, it's not going anywhere, right? Mowgli, you can send them a text. If they choose to opt out of it with 5 different keywords, then it'll opt them out. They say stop, pause, whatever it might be, unsubscribe. Same thing, it'll check the box, it'll opt them out, the button will turn red, the window's kind of voided out and they can't even text them. But if they want to opt back in, they have 5 words they can opt back in. Resubscribe, start. So we have all those things. Both of these things have worked really, really well for us. No complaints. And then we also have Name Coach, which I was telling Tony about earlier. So Name Coach is a tool that does name pronunciation, right? So, I'll give you a good example. So we had a gentleman at the law school who was a 1L and he received a scholarship and we had our alumni luncheon at the Sheridan. I don't want to say his name, but so our vice dean came to me and she's like, Eddie, I have to introduce this gentleman tomorrow. How do I say his name? I was like, well, did you log into Salesforce? Did you go to his contact record? She's like, no, I didn't. I was like, well, let's go do it right now. And she logged right in and she clicked on his first name and she's like, wow. So she felt totally confident and comfortable going to introduce him at the alumni luncheon because he had to go speak and thank alums for scholarship opportunities and stuff, right? So it's a great, great product that not only are we using it here, but we created our own custom web app called law.asu.edu/recordmyname, where students can record their name with a little widget using the API. And then we put it into an online repository so faculty and staff can see the names. And then we also put it into an inclusive roster, that custom roster, not Canvas or Blackboard, just a custom roster for the faculty to log in. It shows the picture of the student. It shows their preferred name, shows their first name, has their phonetic spelling if they provided it, and has a link to hear their name, how they provided it. So really cool stuff, not just in Salesforce, but how things are connected in some of the things that we're doing collectively. So also within Salesforce, we have this amazing advanced search tool, right? It's totally customized and you can do some amazing searches by students in the past, students that are current students based on degree, based on focus area, or if they're 1L, if they graduated, and it gets better, right? So you can even drill down into these. Did they start? What semester did they start? When are they supposed to graduate? When did they graduate? What's their ethnicity? So their academic status, their applicant type, their locker number. We have lockers in our building. So I want to know who has locker 250. Okay, cool. Just do a search right here. Class rank. So obviously class rank is important. So you can go in here and I want to know class rank 1 to 25 and it'll spit out the 12 or 15 people that have a rank within the top 25, right? So there's all sorts of things that your GPA, like we can drill down and drill down and drill down. And we've refined this so much and fixed all of the bugs out of it. It's super, super accurate. It's pretty awesome. So, and then back to Mowgli. We use Mowgli for texting and communication. It's a native Salesforce app. Actually, Tony asked me about this. And so, yeah, so when I say native Salesforce app, it means you go to Salesforce's App Exchange, which is kind of like Apple's App Store, and you would download a package, you would install it, you would set up the permissions accordingly, which is usually managed with permission sets. So when it comes to permissions with Salesforce, it's usually done by a profile, a permission set, or a public group. Those are kind of the 3 things, how you manage permissions and visibility. So this is great. You can do one-to-one communication. So for our JD services teams or our master services teams or our career services teams, it's great to follow up. You know, hey, John, I haven't heard from you. I'm just checking out, make sure everything's okay. Did you get the information you needed? Or, hey, are we still on for our meeting tomorrow? So not only can you send texts out immediately, but you could schedule them too. one-to-one text. So maybe you had a meeting with somebody on Thursday and you're going to meet again next Friday. You could sit there and send them a text message and schedule it. So it goes out maybe a couple hours before your meeting. But then another good part is we can do bulk text messages out of here based off of a campaign. So say there's a deposit, one else have to pay a deposit. Here's the deposit date. I can grab all those 1Ls that have to pay the deposit. We can put them into a campaign, and then we can send them a bulk text message, and we can do a merge field with preferred name. So if they have a preferred name when they applied, we pull that into Salesforce on their contact record. And usually what I'll do is I'll build a report first. I'll just verify that they all have preferred name just to make sure, because you don't want to go out comma and then there's no name, right? So we usually verify, and I work closely with the admissions team, and then everybody's got a preferred name. We fire it out. It's just the same message to everybody with their merge field name, and then they respond back right away. So you can see there's a little Mowgli notification utility right on the bottom. So notifications will start coming in, and those teams can see the messages come in, and they can pop right up and respond to them. Some of them have questions. Oh, can I extend the date? Can I do this? And then Mowgli also has like a Mowgli inbox, right? So you can go to like a little mailbox, and you can see where all these text messages have been coming in, and you can open them up on the right side and respond to the ones that you want to, right? So you can do this a couple of ways. You can assign numbers to people, or you can just collectively make the numbers available to everybody that's within the environment, which is what we do. We have nothing to hide. We're all there to serve the students. There's nothing sensitive that's going on in here, but we're a smaller unit. But if you had a bigger unit, you may want to assign numbers, and you can even assign numbers to, oh, I got John, Peter, and Michael. I want to assign them all this one same number. You can do that too. So super, super great tool. And then I was telling you about Pardot Account Engagement, formerly known as Pardot. And every time I say that, I feel like I'm talking about Prince, right? So again, formerly known as Pardot is an email marketing solution that integrates seamlessly with Salesforce. Super easy to do to connect it. And you can, it's great to create those targeted emails and make dynamic lists and to be able to enhance personalization and engagement. It's just a great tool. So some of you should know what this is. You may know. So this is a dynamic list, and obviously I blurred everything out. So all of these people on these lists, this list is JD active admits, right? So the admissions team has told me that everybody that falls within this substage for this year, this recruitment interest, this app year, this term falls on the active admit list. So when I built this list and ran it, 267. So then if I went into Salesforce and built a report, I should have the same number, right? Or if I go down to JD admissions and ask her, she's like, oh, we have 267. Oh, perfect. My list is accurate. 267 of them are mailable. We're good. Did anybody opt out? Well, let me reach out to the student. They're active admit. They're supposed to be coming. Let me see if they want to get opted back in. Okay, let me know. Send me the communication. Let's get the green light. We'll opt them back in. So super easy. And the substages for JD are extensive at our school. I'm talking about like 49 different substages, right? So it can get pretty hairy. So a lot of this stuff we've actually simplified on the SQL side, and I'll talk more about how we get data into Salesforce a little bit later. So I had my developer basically do this translation in our SQL database, and then we created a field on the contact record called PSF, so Pardot suppression field. So if it's 1, they're opted out, right? They're opted out. Don't include them in any list at all. If it's 0, they can still be included, right? So we've taken that. So we've done a lot of this translation sometimes in SQL, and it makes it easier for me to build a dynamic list. I can choose like 4 or 5 rules, and that's it. Is PSF equal to 1 or equal to 0? Is the recruitment interest AG? Is the app year, whatever? And then it's much easier. So there's ways to streamline things down. So some of the things that we've done out of account engagement Pardot is, creating these great, amazing email templates and sending people down these journeys. These journeys are a couple years old, but these are great examples that show you some of the things that we're kind of doing, and that's connected to our environment. So show you some more. It's prospective student. These are admitted student nurtures. So just a couple of templates in here, and you can see the different journeys based off of the actions that they take. Did they open the email? Did send them another email 5 days later? So these are all things that we've kind of built out along the way. So really cool stuff. And then last week we sent this email out through Pardot, And this came from our dean. So I asked her if I could use this picture. I was like, oh, it's a great email. This is a great picture. Can I use this? So she's like, oh, sure. So we're using Pardot. It's connected to our environment, not only for prospective students and enrolled students, and now we're sending out emails to alums. So all of that engagement, are they opening the email? Emails going out, we're able to get all of that data and find out who's opening it, who's opted out, who's not getting it, kind of where we stand. So, and the other thing I kind of want to touch on is our RFIs. Every single RFI that's on our website is connected to Pardot. We use what's called the Pardot form handler on Drupal. And then it connects into Pardot, flows into Salesforce. So anybody that fills out the RFI automatically belongs to a campaign, automatically flows into Pardot account engagement, automatically flows into Salesforce as a lead, right? So it's pretty cool to be able to look at lead source and identify where they came from. JD request for information, MLS request for information, visiting and transfer request for information. Were they Salesforce mastered and just flowed through Salesforce? So being able to identify where people are coming from is super helpful. So, and then just kind of dive in a little bit more. You can see between account engagement and Salesforce, it does bi-directional syncing, right? So it's constantly syncing. So contacts and leads or email prospects should be going back and forth at all times. You can see right here my little Buzz Lightyear. If it has a blue cloud, it means it's synced to Salesforce. If there is no cloud, it means there's an issue, and you got to dive in and figure out why are they not syncing? Is there a duplicate? Is there somebody else in there that has the same email address? So you can dive in and figure it out. And sometimes you'll find somebody that came back and filled out an RFI form, and they used a different last name, but they had the same email address. So then you can merge those records, right? So then it'll flow into Salesforce like it's supposed to. So, and then I was touching on the kind of engagement history. So I give on the contact record, there's another tab right here called Pardot email engagement. So now those services teams, whether it's the admissions teams, they can go to this Pardot engagement and they can see the recent email engagement history to see if people are opening up emails, or they going to forums and some of the things that they're doing, or opportunities won and such. So they can see some of this cool information easily on the contact record, which is super helpful for them. So again, another thing we're doing is we have this all integrated with Slack. So again, we're a big Slack user, or we're a big Slack institution at ASU, and especially at the law school. I'm trying to get more and more people to leverage Slack. So if anybody applies, you can see at the top, it says opportunities. Opportunities for us are applications, right? So when it says grad opportunities, it's the master's applications. The JD opportunities are somebody who's going through LSAC applying, and then it's flowing using the API, going to our SQL server, flowing into Salesforce. It's flowing into Salesforce right here. And then it's creating this opportunity. So it's kind of just reconfirming the flow of data. And then if we ever send out CAS codes, everybody know what CAS codes are? Basically allows people to apply at law school for free, right? It's like a promo code that we send out. So if we send those out, we'll get a big uptick in applications, right? So now the senior director of JD admissions, she doesn't have to be logging into Salesforce. She can just have Slack running on her phone on the weekend, and she see ding, 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 JD opportunity. So she knows it's working. People are applying, it's great. And then we'll have it all blurred out. These are all links. So they can go directly to their Salesforce opportunity. So like I said, the opportunity has all the application data. It's the program, the term, and all the LSAC number and all that information. It's all on the opportunity. And same with the request for information. Those are all coming through as prospects. And those are all private channels. So all of those respective teams have access, so they can see kind of what's happening and get a quick glance. So, and you can see we have law services requests. So one of the things we're doing too is we're using the case object in Salesforce, which is the standard object in Salesforce. By no means are we using Service Cloud. We created our own front-end custom web page with categories based off of their specific for the law school, right? So no other area is going to have these. No other area is going to have these categories. They're specific to law and the things that our services teams are providing for our students, right? So you can see it's a simple form. The person logs in. It's going to have their name automatically, because basically when they log in, it goes to our SQL database. It looks at how they logged in. It verifies who they are. It defines which program they're part of. They're part of JD. They have to choose a category. They can put a title in, put an option. They can submit it. Basically, we take that data. It goes to SQL. We've defined who gets assigned to all these categories. So when it goes to Salesforce, it's already assigned to the right person. They get a case notification, they get an email, the case has been assigned to them. And then last piece is if they wanted to get a text message, I could put their mobile phone, their mobile number on their user record. And we built a flow that'll basically send them a text message to you that says the case has been assigned to you. So we've done some cool things to kind of give them notifications and things have been assigned to them. So we just put this in place in August, right? We had no workflow for those services teams. It was very ad hoc and it was a lot of like, oh, I'm just really busy. I'm helping a lot of students, but we had no way to kind of measure that. So I've been able to take all of this data, right? Cases that have been open, cases that have been closed. What are the categories? Who's resolving them? How long are they open? When are our high peaks and valleys of when cases are going to, and I put it all into a Salesforce dashboard. So it hasn't even been a year and we've had almost 2,000 cases opened up and 95% of them have been closed. And I can tell you which categories are the highest ones. I can tell you at what point, you know, when they're open, who's taking care of them, who's assigned to it. I can tell you all that data. It's great. There's just another one. This one's for the grad services, which is the master side. And then this one is for the career services side. So I kind of want to just kind of talk about our timeline. I did mention 2018, and I just kind of wanted to show you to get all this stuff built. It's not like it happened overnight. I mean, this is a long drawn out process and it's constant evolution and innovation and thinking outside the box and meeting with your stakeholders and finding out what's missing and how can we improve the experience? How can we better support the students? What data, you know what I mean? Just make better decisions across the board. So I didn't put a lot of text in here. You can read it if you want to. I tried to make it as simple as possible. But it's been a journey. And so we're not done. Like this is constant. We have other things that we're going to work on this year and we're going to do more. So I'm super excited about it. And then our life cycle. When we started this thing, I showed you there was the 2 phases. This was the first phase, right? Which seems like a lot, but you know, this second phase was way more. It took a lot more work and a lot more data, a lot more objects, a lot more users. We went from 20 users, about 25 users to nearly 60 users. So yeah. So it's been big. It's been big, you know, and it's really helped us define our service, find solutions for our end users, allows us to deliver success to our students, to provide good support to our students. You know, when we first started this thing, like I just said, we had these 3 teams, and then now we're up to all these teams, right? So it's grown a tremendous amount, and we're just continuing to add new capabilities to it, and we will. It'll never stop. So I kind of wanted to show the data flow of kind of some of the things that we're doing. I kind of wanted to simplify it. I didn't want to get. I had the original one that we had, but it was just way too complicated. So I just kind of wanted to show you a simple one. So the things that are in the maroon on the outside, those are the sources. Those are the source systems where data is coming from. And then you can see over here, the middle one is our law database, which is an SQL database. And we use an ETL tool called DBAMP, which allows our developer to write SQL statements to be able to push data into Salesforce. So that's how that works. And then where it says custom web over here on the left, we take, when somebody applies to LSAC, we push into the law database, we push into Salesforce, and then we use a custom web app to basically take that information and push it into the grad college at ASU, which is, you know, the kind of the grad college app. So basically we have to create an app programmatically to push it into ASU's grad college system. And then from there, they pump it into PeopleSoft. And then we take certain values, some bio demo information, as well as this information on the bottom. And then we push that back into our database, and then we push it back and we push it into Salesforce. Right. And you can see some of the custom objects that we have under the law school instance, like student degree, classes, GPA, awards, and, you know, certs and centers and exam numbers. These are all custom things. They didn't come out of the box, and things that we had to add. And then you can see the two-way syncing with Pardot, account engagement, how it goes back and forth. And then Atlas is the employment system that has student experiences and jobs and that kind of stuff. And so we pull some of that data in as well. Let's see, what else do I got? So this is just not a one-man, it's not just me. It's a very competent developer and then an email coordinator. And like we're the core team that basically supports this environment, right? And so when we started this process, my developer and myself, we had zero experience with Salesforce, right? So we had consultants to help us start this process, but they're not around anymore. So we're managing it, taking care of it, innovating on it, expanding it, coming up with ideas, making it better. So working with the stakeholders, I was going to put the stakeholders on here too, because they're an important part of the collaboration as well. So thankfully, our stakeholders have been super helpful and given us great feedback on, hey, it'd be so helpful if we had this, and it'd be so helpful if we had that. So we've taken some of that to heart and have added those capabilities, and I'll show you a couple of them here in a second. So, but one thing that you really got to have is leadership support, right? And so without great leadership, these kind of things are not going to happen, right? So obviously it comes to funding and resources and meeting strategic goals and objectives, and helps with mitigating user resistance. It keeps the momentum and visibility alive and fosters collaboration. And then ASU as a whole is really big into innovation, right? And so at the law school too, we're all about being innovative and having that collaborative spirit across the ASU landscape, and also just continuity, promote continuous improvement, promote refinement, improving processes. These are all big things that we do, but that stems from good leadership. So, and then here's some of the partners and services that we use. So as I was mentioning, we use Mowgli for SMS for texting. We use demand tools for deduping data. So when I say deduping data, you might have duplicate records, duplicate contacts, duplicate opportunities, duplicate leads. You can run demand tools on like a Windows machine. And then basically you can build this filter criteria and you can find duplicates, and then you can merge them into one record, right? So we use that, and we have some jobs. You can automate the jobs to run and merge records. And then Own Backup is basically a backup utility that runs in the cloud. So they provide backup solutions for ServiceNow and for Salesforce, primarily Salesforce, but now they're doing ServiceNow. And hands down, the best backup solution you can have. It's set it and forget it. It'll do everything. It's, and one of the reasons when we jumped into the Salesforce arena, it's one of the first things I got was Own Backup. And so my big fear has always been, okay, well, what if I get a delete records request and I'm backing data up myself into zip files? To be technically compliant, you'd have to crawl all those backups and delete that record. This makes it super easy. I can go into Own Backup. I can identify what that record's ID number is. I can delete that record from production. I can go into Own Backup. I can put that record ID in there, and I can say delete it, and it'll freaking delete the record out of every single snapshot that Own Backup has. So you don't have to worry about it. So, and then recovering data, you can recover data easily. You can recover records easily. It's just an amazing resource to have. So when it comes to data, and then being able to seed sandboxes. So one of the things that Salesforce does really well is, so it gives you sandboxes. When I say sandboxes, you do things in like a dev environment or like a sandbox environment. So you can do an acceptance environment, you can do a dev pro environment, you can do a regular dev environment. So a regular dev environment doesn't have user data in it. It just has code, right? So you can write your code, you can enhance your code, you can add new things. And then a dev pro environment, you could say, oh, I only want to put in like, 100 records or something, right? Because you want to do some other testing. So, and then acceptance environment is a mirror of the production. You've released, you wrote some code in dev, you push it into acceptance environment, and now you're going to test it with the users, right? And so you can do that. And everybody gives you the green light, and then you do a change set and you push it into production. So they set it up really well so you don't screw things up. They have this structure of sandboxing to prevent you from breaking stuff. So it works pretty well. So before I take any questions, I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of this stuff. So I took this record. This was an actual student record, but I took this person's name out and I put all my name in there so you guys have no idea who this person is. So this is our UAT environment. So just so you can kind of see, you can see like,
Yeah, right.
oh, thank you. Appreciate that. There you go. So you can kind of see, and go back here. So this is just in our acceptance and our UAT environment. And this is just kind of a phony record with my picture. And I was telling you earlier about this component that we made, this Lightning Web component. So you can see it has this information. It's, if the services teams are logging in, they don't have to dig through a bunch of stuff. They can just come here. If they wanted to know this information, they could see, oh, it's JD, their academic status is graduated. When did they start? They easily have access. They can see the rank. They could see the GPA. This is cool. You're going to love this. Right? So here's the cumulative GPA. Spring 2023 was the last semester that I completed. Not really, but right? And so you can see the cumulative GPA. But so if I want to go back to fall 2022, right? So now watch the cumulative GPA. It's going to change again. So when you change the most recently completed semester, it's going to change the cumulative GPA to what it was at that point. So you don't have to dig into the GPA objects and figure that all out. We're doing all the translations so you can easily identify that information. And then if they're filling out, we have a custom form for pro bono hours and different things. They fill that out. We're actually gathering that information and we're putting it in here. And then I can build reports based off of total pro bono hours and activities and which organization they were part, where they served those hours and all that stuff. So they can figure out if they deserve, or if not deserve, but if they get pro bono distinction awards and stuff. And let's see here. Let me go back. This. Let me go back up. So you can see all these objects are just very specific to kind of their academic career, right? Classes. So if I come here, we also made this student class enhanced. It should pop up. So it's got colors in it. So everything in Salesforce is pretty much kind of generic text, white, black text. So we made this more of a intuitive with a little legend here. So you can see if they dropped it, right? Was it online? Was it a sync class, like an asynchronous class? So you can see their grades and their professors. You can see how they did in the semester, all that stuff. So super, super helpful. And then the other thing I was going to show you, I mentioned this custom grad tracker. One of the things we've had a hard time with is basically the students have no way to check where they stand as far as progress goes in their academic journey, right? So this is all custom. We pull this stuff into our database and then pull this into here as view. This is actually doing a call out to a web app on our SQL server. And then, so the students have this same view. So we're giving our advisors this view, our student services teams this view, and then the students can log in and see the same view. So we're on the same page, seeing the same information. So if there's a discrepancy and the student says, hey, you know what? I'm only showing 6 credits, but I should have 12. Oh, okay, well, let me log in, let me look. Okay, let me figure out why, what's happening. Let's get accurate information. So it's more of an unofficial kind of checker, not such a, and then schedule. One of our deans was like, I want to know when students are here. What classroom are they in? What days are they here? If I want to meet with them, I'd like to know when they're here. Cool. So we put that on here. So now we have their schedules when they're here. So they want to schedule a meeting to meet with them. And then again, we have their, I don't think she has an email. It probably won't load. Yeah, because I changed all the stuff, but I have to show you on my record, on my real record. Yeah, Mowgli. I mean, that's kind of like the gist of it. And I was telling you about the advanced search earlier, and some of the stuff that you can do. It's pretty amazing just how granular you can get with this search here. It makes it super easy for our stakeholders to be able to find what they're looking for. I think what else? And then let me go back to this other one. So this is just my real record in our production environment. Obviously, I don't have anything. I just have fake name, but you can see the different tags and stuff. So make it super easy. And then just to show you the Pardot account engagement history, kind of this is what it looks like, right? So if the student services teams or the admissions teams wanted to kind of see which emails are opening and which ones they haven't, or if they opted out, they can see all this information. And then we also set it up. This is all custom too. We have lockers in our building, so we can assign them a locker. So you can see all these ones are already signed. So if I wanted to find one that wasn't assigned, I could sign it to the student. And so pretty cool stuff. And then what was I going to show you? Oh, I was going to show you right here. So I have name coach, as I told you earlier. So this is kind of cool.
Edward.
Right. So if I clicked on my last name,
Garcia.
right? Freaking thing is accurate. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. You can't. No, you can't. You can find other one. It'll have other recordings in there. You can do it. So, and I was just going to show you texting. This works and responds quickly. I should get a text message here. A second. Yep, got it. Hold on, I'll show you how quick it responds. Should pop up. So instant, seconds, it just responds. So if you're engaging with students and responding with them, and we've just seen an uptick in text message, how they tend to respond so much quicker with text messages than they do with email, right? So again, our admissions teams have been using it for deposit reminders, for commitments, for admitted student events, and it's all built into our Salesforce environment. So it's super easy to do, building a campaign, building a report, identifying which messages went out successfully, what was the incoming message that they sent back. So I can do all this cool stuff. We can do RSVPs. Are you coming? Yes or no. So when we have admitted student events and say we have 150 students coming, we can send them a text message to confirm, and then 80 of them RSVP is yes, then maybe we'll only print those name tags and we'll make sure we order the right amount of lunches, but it makes it super easy for the constituents to just be like, yes, I'm coming, or no, I'm not. It's not like, oh, can you fill out this whole form? And it just makes it super, super, super easy. So, and then I can build all sorts of different reports, which I do, reports and dashboards. Unfortunately, I can't show you that data, but I can tell you as we use that LSAC API and pull the data in, I can tell you how many apps we had today, how many we had yesterday, how many we had last week, last month. I can tell you how many we have at this point. I can tell you what days they applied. I can tell you all sorts of information. I could tell you by undergrad major. So say I had, 8 electrical engineering applicants and they're all reconfirmed. I could tell you what the median LSAT score was for all of those people. I could tell you from their state what their median LSAT scores, what their undergrad GPA was. I can tell you all this great information based off of different reports and different things that I can build. We also use Tableau, which is not inside our CRM. We use it as a standalone server. And that has data, but that has a lot of historical data that we use, and it's super nice. But I like to use that as well to kind of check the quality of our data, because it's all coming in from the same source, where Tableau is connected to our SQL database directly to a table. And then when we massage the data and put it into Salesforce, it's nice to look at it and see where we're at. Here's how many we have reconfirmed. Here's what the median is for the incoming class. Here's what the undergrad GPA is. So it's nice to be able to kind of look at that data and see where we're at. And yes.
So, how much historical build out? Like 2019, but
No, I have everybody. The only people I'm missing at this point is the classes of 1975 through 1979. I have been working on that with the foundation, right? And so, and our registrar's office, where they had the paper records, right? So one of the members of our team, she went through the paper records of 1970 through 74. Our first graduating class was 70. And so she put it all into an Excel spreadsheet. And then we had to create all the terms for the 70s. So when I say terms, I mean 1970 JD, spring, fall, create all those terms. And then we pumped all that data into Salesforce. We created degrees for all of them. And then we basically, it's such a long time ago, they didn't have affiliate IDs, like ASU IDs. So we had to create like fake IDs. So if it has like a 4 9s, it's like a fake ID that we created. And then they didn't have emails. So we created like first dot last name emails with @asu.edu .invalid, right? And so we've done all these things. And then I've worked with the foundation to get a bunch of data out of their records. And I've even made it simple in a sense that we've created an alumni section on our contact record and created a link to the foundation's instance that'll go directly to that person who's on, say if they're looking at my contact record, they can go to, here, I'll show you. I think it's on mine. I don't know if it's on mine, but they can go to, click on a link down here. Is it down here? I don't have it on mine, but basically it'll have a link to go to the foundations, which is the fundraising arm. It'll take them directly to their record in the foundation. So we've customized that with a formula, because when they give me the sheet, they included the contact ID for that person in their order. So we were able to leverage their distinct URL and then put that contact ID on. So it makes it easy for those teams. Oh, I'm looking at here, and we click over here and make sure everything's matching up. And then I also worked with Foundation to get updated addresses and updated phone numbers. And then for our alumni office, on our alumni section, we have an alumni email and an alumni phone number. And then we add an alumni residence address. So I set up a permission set so only like 2 people from that team can update those records. And so what we do is we built flows. So when they update those things in the alumni field, it'll go on to update the primary phone number on the contact record and update the primary email address. And then if they create an alumni residence address, it'll overwrite the primary contact address. So we're making it, we're controlling it because we want to make sure it's right. And so that's been really helpful for the teams. And I can verify that too, is because if they have the alumni address, email address, and the contact email address matches, we know when I run a report that these are all the ones that have been updated. You know what I mean? So it kind of gives them a peace of mind. They don't have to question, I'm not sure, did we update this one? I don't know. So that's worked out really well. Oh, question? Oh. Oh, I don't know. Does something like this on Salesforce allow people to easily migrate to Airtable to other app database platform? I can't really answer that question. I don't know much about Airtable, and I know some people use it, but I'm sorry, I don't know a whole lot about Airtable. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Eddie. That was a great presentation.
Oh, thanks. It's a lot to digest.
A lot to digest, but you pretty much showed us like the holy grail. If I were to show this to our student services team right now, I think they would rally.
Really?
And be at the dean's door.
It's cool. Well, I'm glad you like it. It's just a lot to show. It's a lot to.
Well, so like at our law school, right? We have legacy systems, .NET applications, and that basically pull data from a simple source from the data warehouse as well. But we have all this transactional data that sits on SQL Server, and as time's gone on, our legacy interfaces, they get outdated, and we try to pull in all these other systems like Namecoach, 1220, and so on. So seeing everything in one view, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's huge.
So my question is, consult. You put your timeline up there and showed, but what did the initial consulting phase look like?
So we gave ourselves about a year, right? And so the person who was kind of leading the project left and went to take another opportunity. She was on the marketing team, and she was kind of the one who was spearheading it. And then she's like, and then we got the green light. We're going to move. Oh, by the way, I'm leaving. Eddie, can you take it on? I guess I'll take it on, right? So the schedule they originally had was, hey, let's start in August. Let's go live in January. I was like, that's a little aggressive. So we waited till the next cycle, right? So we ended up finishing up probably around February, March, but then it was getting the users to log in and preparing them for the fall cycle, right? So there was a little bit of resistance, right? Because they mostly been working out of LSAC system, right? Which is not a CRM, it's an application system, right? So, but now, I mean, they're all using it, right? And the greater phase 2 has been more impactful in my opinion from a student success perspective, right? Being able to meet with the students and look at their records, take notes, send them text messages, see their GPAs, you kind of see where they're at in the cycle as far as academic cycle and stuff. So it's been great, and they've all been very appreciative, especially with adding the case object and letting them, assign cases and leverage them, and identifying how we're getting cases through the web. They're creating cases from the email. So anything that comes to the web is created automatically. Anything that comes through email is created manually. Anything that's over, say, oh, I met with them over Zoom. That's a Zoom case. So identifying the case origins, we're able to flag all that information too, right? So it's great for our leadership because the dean will ask me, she's asked me, oh, how many cases have we had opened up? I was like, oh, well, in December, I was like, well, we've had 1,000. She said, well, then people are like, wow, really? 1,000 cases, right? And mostly academic advising, right? But that piece was really missing, but now we can identify the metrics for it, which is pretty cool.
Were the consultants from Salesforce or were they?
No. So that's the thing. Like, we worked with originally, so we worked with Sierra Cedar. But then they got acquired by Accenture. So we worked with Sierra Cedar, which was like the ASU preferred Salesforce consultant at the time. So ASU as a whole has been using Salesforce since 2013. So again, same thing, Sales Cloud, a lot of customization. And we have kind of a multi-org strategy across the university. So there's a total of 10 different Salesforce orgs across ASU, with 4 different marketing clouds and 3 instances of Pardot account engagement. So I think we're still education's largest customer, right, at ASU. So again, the law school org is much smaller, right? So you have the opportunity to be a little bit more agile, more nimble, more accommodating to your stakeholders. When the org starts getting into like 300, 400, 500 users, 600, it's a bigger impact. You tend to lose a lot of that agility in a sense. And so that's one things that we kind of really pride ourselves on ASU Law is being able to be agile, nimble, respond quickly, you know. But when you start getting bigger and bigger, it's harder to turn the big ship. You know what I mean? I'd rather be on my jet ski. You know, but I'd be happy to share with anybody, you know.
So
Yeah, you're good.
someone's making me laugh. I talk loud. So since 2013, you said how much hand holding do you actually have to do with this product and
ASU
all of your stakeholders?
Yeah, so ASU's been using it since 2013, and we didn't adopt it until we didn't start the process until August of 2018. You know, when you didn't know nothing about nothing, there's a lot of hand holding. You rely on the consultants, like, because we had to create our own org. Like, I had no idea how to do that, right? I was like, oh, you got to sign in, do this, and I was like terrified. But you know, as we've progressed and gained more and more experience, and then you know, it's kind of terrifying when the consultant pulls away, and you're like, oh God, what are we gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? But we figure it out. And there's things out there like trailhead.com, which is it's kind of Salesforce's free place to go train how to do things, right? So you can create a free Trailhead account, and you can spin up sandboxes, and you can follow different trails and do different things, learn how different things work. And so all the tools to be successful are there, right? It's just putting the time in to learn it, but it also makes it a lot easier when you have other people on your team that are invested in the process as well. So
How many folks on your team do you have actually that work with you on this?
So it's me and one other developer, but this is only part-time of what we do. Like, I'm still the senior director of the IT department. I still do all the security reviews, the purchasing, the procurement of things. I still help with the strategy and see everything else, right? And so Tony knows, like, I wear a lot of hats there, and so not just Salesforce. So
It's impressive. Great presentation.
oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So I know it's a lot to digest. I had to dumb it all down. I stripped some of the things out, but it was great. So of course, sweet. That's just my email's up there, edward.garcia@asu.edu. I'd be happy to kind of share and show things if you ever want to show something over Zoom. I just want to show you what's possible. You know, it's possible if you have the right people, the right stakeholders, the right buy-in from leadership. There's a lot of things that you can do, and it's powerful. And you know, it's really just changed how we do things, right? And being able to, we're just going to continue to put more data in there and have more ideas. And then just the data integrity, I'm super proud of that, like the quality of data. And if somebody finds something, it's having those stakeholders that's noticed as abnormalities, and then what steps are you taking to rectify those abnormalities, right? So that's the thing I take a lot of pride in. So
Thanks for being whatever actually you
she has an account. She's logged in. I do share screenshots with her over Slack and share different things with her and stuff. And
You mentioned being
it's, you know, but you know, we have a great dean who's very much has an innovative mindset and is about technology and wants to lead the way in a number of ways. And it's something I take great pride in is being able to do that, you know. And so
Do you have the fundraise for this project?
no, they had the backing, because like I said, we had an old .NET student management system. It was approaching 20 years old. You know, it lacked modernization, it lacked, you know, flexibility. And so we had great success with that first implementation, and we knew this was the right direction for us to go, right? And so once we conquered that first hill, you know, now we wanted to conquer the next one. And we did it like right during COVID, pretty much is when we kind of started the contracting and all that stuff and started it all out. But I felt more confident the second time because I've been through the whole process with the consultants, right? Building the data dictionary, defining the processes, defining the, just different things on the journey, right? A lot of it's the data dictionary and the processes. Who owns this process? Okay, do we have to do it this way? Can we do it this way? And so it's figuring out all that stuff. And so it was super, super cool. So, sure. That's it, I'm done.